The Disaster Emergency Logistics System for ASEAN, or DELSA, was established to ensure that ASEAN can achieve a faster response, mobilize greater resources, and establish stronger coordination to save more lives whenever disaster strikes. With support of Japan ASEAN Integration Fund, or JAIF, since 2012, the AHA Center partnered with United Nations Humanitarian Response Depot, or UNHRD, and successfully set up a regional stockpile in Subang, Malaysia. This stockpile is dedicated to support the emergency operations throughout the region. In the first phase of its implementation, DELSA project has successfully supported the deployment of relief items to 24 out of 30 emergency operations conducted by AHA Center from 2012 to 2018. Following this achievement, 2 more satellite warehouses have been established to support the realization of One ASEAN, One Response. 2 locations are selected to host the warehouses: China, Thailand, and Manila, the Philippines.
In the spirit of One ASEAN, One Response, this DELSA warehouse here in the Philippines puts the ASEAN through the AHA Center in a better position to respond to disasters, whether in the Philippines, other countries in the region, or outside of the region. By having a singular working logistics platform for the whole region, this would greatly improve the speed of response, and it will increase the scale of the quantity of relief that the region could provide to the affected member states, and it would promote solidarity. Resources will be interoperable and collaboration will be easier. Our assistance will be bigger, faster, and our unity will be stronger.
It is important for us to join hands and support each other in building disaster-resilient ASEAN. The standby arrangement here in China is dedicated to support the regional emergency responses, specifically in the Mekong sub-region.
With the DELSA project, the AHA Center also explores and promotes knowledge exchange on innovative humanitarian logistics to enhance the quality of emergency operations. Also, it aims to connect the humanitarian logistics practitioners and experts with the governments of ASEAN member states.
This network of the ASEAN regional stockpiles is designed to support ASEAN collective response to disasters in the region and at a later stage outside the region.
DELSA is one of the most successful projects which Japan has supported through Japan ASEAN Integration Fund, or JAIF. DELSA has become the most important tool for ASEAN to promote One ASEAN, One Response.
The presence of DELSA aims to strengthen coordination and collaboration between the AHA Center, ASEAN member states, and humanitarian partners in the region. Thus, in managing DELSA, together we are able to realize our vision of
One ASEAN,
One Response.
ASEAN responding as one to disaster
In the region and outside the region.
and Europe.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will begin the hackathon opening ceremony in a few minutes. Hackathon participants, please update your Discord name so we can assist you better. We also request all participants to mute your mic while the ceremony is ongoing.
The supply chain is an interconnected system involving flows of goods, people, data, and funds. High-performing and resilient supply chains are the lifeline for economic development and growth in countries. Equally, they ensure societies and communities are more resistant towards shocks and disruptions when natural disasters or man-made conflicts cause humanitarian crises. Supply chain and logistics is the backbone of humanitarian operations to ensure affected people survive and receive relief assistance. In the humanitarian context, the supply chain includes different phases, starting with activities to build resilience, strengthen capacities, and prepare for future operations. When a disaster strikes, the assessment and planning phases determine the humanitarian program that needs to be carried out. The actual operation phase begins through the mobilization of resources and sourcing of commodities, which are shipped and distributed to the affected population. The quantity and variety of actors involved in the humanitarian supply chain is normally high, and so is the diversity of the roles they play. One of the major stakeholders is the affected population, who are ultimately the recipients of emergency aid. Other critical stakeholders are the national government, as designated coordinator of the response, humanitarian agencies, as provider of assistance, institutional and private donors who fund the operation, and commercial suppliers who provide products and services. More often, military are engaged as they provide essential heavy assets and equipment. Finally, the media plays a crucial role in bringing attention to the crisis and the relief efforts. From preparedness to distribution, coordination is critical. The activities humanitarian actors are carrying out during the preparedness phase are also embedded in long-term development programs to strengthen the supply chain in and around the respective country. Recent studies have shown that tremendous cost savings and response time reductions can be achieved when investing in supply chain preparedness. The overall supply chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Generating a comprehensive understanding on critical supply chain stakeholders, processes, and infrastructure should therefore be the baseline for any preparedness plan. Preparedness investments can address the enhancement of staff capacity, streamlining of working processes, implementation of IT systems, pre-positioning of relief items, and infrastructure development. Studies on the preparedness investment demonstrate that a holistic funding approach across key preparedness activities generates the maximum impact on the supply chain performance. Investment in only one or two activities, for example only trainings, would result in reduced returns. Once the emergency has happened, the rapid and accurate assessment of needs and infrastructure is of utmost importance. Often, information arrives slowly in the early hours and days because of the chaotic situation and the limitations of access to affected locations. Starting relief operations without having the full picture is therefore the norm rather than the exception. With the best available information gathered in the immediate aftermath of the disaster, humanitarian organizations define their intervention and response plans, which determine where to respond, what type of assistance to provide, when it is needed, how many beneficiaries will be targeted, and then estimate the duration of the emergency operation and their exit options. This ultimately supports the determination of funding requirements to carry out the response. To coordinate and deliver emergency operations, personnel are deployed to the affected location. Providing experienced, trained personnel on the ground with sufficient support, such as office space, accommodation and food, as well as equipment such as generators, vehicles or communication, is considered a time-critical responsibility of logistics. The needed goods can be internationally or locally sourced from in-kind donations, pre-positioned stockpiles, or procured from commercial suppliers. More often now, cash and voucher programs are set up in parallel to physical goods supply chains. In such programs, it's essential that local markets are able to meet the demand, and beneficiaries are not left with the means to purchase with no access or availability to supplies. International transport is commonly performed through air and sea freight services, depending on the time pressure and funding constraints. When receiving large volumes of supplies, the air and sea ports in the affected country often become major bottlenecks. In particular, during the early days after a disaster, delays and congestion can be expected because of limited handling capacity to offload cargo, lengthy importation and custom clearance processes, and insufficient availability of local transportation to move supplies downstream to last-mile operational areas. Once the cargo has arrived in the country, or if it has been sourced from local suppliers or taken from pre-positioned stocks, the onward transportation is normally performed in smaller consignments by road, rail, air and sea, or a combination of all. To break down the volumes into smaller batches, transient warehouses, or so-called transshipment points, need to be arranged. A common challenge is the high competition for limited transport capacities created by the numerous organizations in addition to the already existing demand from the commercial sector, which continues to perform business as usual in non-affected parts of the country. The final leg of transportation, also referred to as the last mile, is often affected by damaged or non-existing infrastructure and security concerns. Cargo is moved by smaller vehicles, helicopter, boats, or even human and animal-powered transport means. In terms of storage, alternative solutions may be needed, such as temporary tent storage units, train wagons, or other buildings. Depending on the type of commodity, the situation on the ground, and the frequency of delivery, the final distribution process is established to provide relief items to the affected population. An integral part of supply chain management is also the consideration of how to manage waste, damaged items, and too many stocks. Throughout the operation, and in particular in the early stages of the response, the situation on the ground can change rapidly. While preparedness and planning is crucial, decisions shouldn't be set in stone. The supply chain needs to be designed for flexibility, agility, and mobility. Proper documentation and data collection during the emergency operation and a comprehensive lesson learnt exercise after the operation should be performed to ensure compliance with donor accountability and to provide feedback on the preparedness planning for the next emergency crisis.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will begin a hackathon opening ceremony in a few minutes. Hackathon participants, please update your Discord name so we can assist you better. We also request all participants to mute your mic while the ceremony is ongoing.
The Japan-ASEAN Integration Fund, JAIF, was founded in 2006 with a twofold objective: to support integration efforts to create the ASEAN community and to promote greater cooperation between Japan and ASEAN. JAIF is committed to supporting the implementation of the ASEAN 2025 blueprints of the ASEAN Political Security Community, the ASEAN Economic Community, and the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community. JAIF has contributed to strengthening Japan-ASEAN relations by implementing various projects ranging from disaster management to counter-terrorism to economic integration.
With support of JAIF, mine risk education in affected community has been an ongoing process.
In VTS program, which supported by JAIF, I was given an opportunity to boost my career in maritime traffic, which gave me a competency certificate certified by YALA.
JAIF in particular has been the earliest supporter of AHA Center since the birth of AHA Center 9 years ago. And not only that, Japan, and through JAIF, has been the largest financial supporter of AHA Center externally.
I also had an opportunity to participate in this program in 2006. JAIF is one of the most important funds for ASEAN-Japan cooperation, particularly for CLMV countries.
As of August 2020, the total contribution by JAIF amounts to almost $750 million, making Japan the largest contributor to ASEAN to date. At the 23rd ASEAN-Japan Summit in 2020, Japan and ASEAN adopted a joint statement on the ASEAN Outlook on the Indo-Pacific, AOIP. JAIF will contribute to reinforcement of the ASEAN-Japan strategic partnership by implementing projects that contribute to the principles and objectives of the AOIP in the 4 areas outlined in the AOIP, namely maritime cooperation, connectivity, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and economic development. In addition, Japan will continue to fully support the establishment of the ASEAN Center for Public Health Emergencies and Emerging Diseases, which was announced in 2020.
ASEAN announced its outlook on the Indo-Pacific, which is called AOIP, and Japan finds many fundamental principles that we can share with AOIP. And this is why we are determined to continue our assistance to ASEAN through JAIF.
afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to all of you watching us live here at the AHAckathon. Good day wherever you are in the world. What a fine day it is, and I hope it is also where you are right now, and I hope you are all safe and healthy and feeling very excited today. My name is Gaynor Tanyang. I currently lead the Disaster Emergency Logistics System of ASEAN, or DELSA project. I am joining from my home here in Manila, Philippines, and my team joins me from Jakarta, from Singapore, and Berlin. Assisting me as DJ this early morning, his time, is Tobias Wasowicki of Launch Labs. He has been organizing and running hackathons as his passion. He also just got married and considers himself half Indonesian. I am personally elated that today has come because today and right this hour, we are holding the AHA Center's first hacking competition, aptly dubbed as a hackathon. So I shall not make you wait any further. Toby, let's begin. The AHAckathon is one of the major events under the Humanitarian and Emergency Logistics Expo, or HELIX. The keyword is innovation, applied in humanitarian settings. You have seen in the video by Help Logistics, one of our partners for AHAckathon, that addressing needs of people affected by disasters take a lot of effort, long before the actual disaster happens. HELIX is AHA Center's way of expanding our menu of solutions to ensure that when a disaster happens in ASEAN, no one is left behind. Ladies and gentlemen, we have several leaders who would love to welcome you and inspire you personally, but they had to record their message for you this afternoon. Let me begin by introducing to you the Executive Director of the AHA Center, Colonel Lee Yaming.
Good afternoon to everyone and a good day to those who are outside the ASEAN region. Dr. Lee Kuan Tuan, Deputy Director, Department of Science, Technology and International Cooperation. Deputy Commissioner Tiong Hao Hua, representing Singapore as Chair of the ASEAN Committee on Disaster Management. Partners, honored guests and participants, it is my pleasure as the Executive Director of the AHA Center to welcome you to the opening of the AHAckathon as the exciting final component of the humanitarian emergency logistics and Innovation Expo, or HELIX. Before we proceed further, I would like to take the time to introduce the AHA Center, especially to the students and young people participating today. The AHA Center stands for the ASEAN Coordinating Center for Humanitarian Assistance on Disaster Management. The AHA Center was built out of the firm intent of the 10 ASEAN member states to jointly and collectively respond to disaster when any one of our neighbors is affected by disaster and emergencies. ASEAN is the first in the world to have a legally binding framework to prepare for, mitigate, response, and recover from disasters through the ASEAN Agreement on Disaster Management and Emergency Response, or ADMER. ADMER created the AHA Center. Our primary mandate is to facilitate cooperation between the member states of ASEAN, as well as the international partners, to reduce disaster losses and to ensure joint collective response. One of the principal pillars in the fulfillment of AHA Center's task is knowledge and outreach. In disaster management, knowledge is important as it can take any form, from the traditions and stories of indigenous communities and the modern technologies that assist our monitoring and disaster alert capabilities today. This is especially important in the context of Southeast Asia, one of the most disaster-prone areas in the world, in which 650 people live. In implementing ADMER, we envision ASEAN to ascend as a global leader in disaster management by 2025. One of the ways we can achieve this is to be innovative. Putting it simply, we are always looking for new, perhaps unexplored ways of looking at things and solving problems. In our increasing complex world, this ability to learn and innovate will be important to ensure that we achieve the speed, scale, and solidarity of our response. It is in this spirit of promoting innovation and learning that we initiated the first ever Humanitarian and Emergency Logistic Expo, or HELIX, which was successfully held earlier this May. And this will continue to be our underlying theme, especially in today's event, the AHAckathon App Design and Coding Competition. I'm very happy and encouraged to see the numbers of participants, almost 90 of you from 11 countries, and the wide range of backgrounds from students and professionals, coders, business management, disaster response, law, creative design, and many other fields. Innovation needs to be the perspective and interest of many, and it is my hope that the synergy and teamwork of the teams, as well as the guidance of the mentors and experts in this competition, can truly lead to very innovative ideas and concepts in the field of disaster management. To the teams, you may well represent the future of disaster management in ASEAN and beyond, and I wish the greatest success to all of you. Given the current COVID-19 situation, I commend and express my greatest thanks to the effort of the AHA Center and VMDMA team to put together an exciting event in the virtual platform. I would like to congratulate the Vietnam Disaster Management Authority as they celebrate their 75th anniversary this month. I also want to acknowledge our organizing partners, Impact Week and Launch Lab, for your sustained endurance in the design, planning, and execution of AHAckathon. In addition, I would also like to express our sincere appreciation to the mission of Japan to ASEAN and the Japan-ASEAN Integration Fund, as well as our supporting partners, Angles Investors Network Indonesia, Temasek Foundation, and the UPS Foundation for their generous and steadfast support for the HELIX series of events. To all participants here today, all the best for the competition, and thank you for taking part in this event, which is one of the activities in the celebration of AHA Center's 10th anniversary. Thank you, everyone, I wish you good health and safety and all the best wishes for our hackathon teams.
Thank you, Colonel Liami. Our final speaker this afternoon to welcome and inspire all of us is from ASEAN's hotspot for technological innovation, which is where? In Singapore. As the chair of the ASEAN Committee on Disaster Management, Deputy Commissioner Chong Hoa of the Singapore Civil Defense Force will explain why this is the right time and the right place to do a hackathon.
Mr. Truong Quan Hui, Director General of the Vietnam Disaster Management Authority, Mr. Lee Ya Ming, Executive Director of the AHA Center, partners, friends of the ASEAN National Disaster Management Organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon and welcome to this opening ceremony of the AHAckathon, the very first hackathon event organized by the AHA Center. And on behalf of the ASEAN Committee on Disaster Management, the ACDM, I would like to thank the Government of Japan, Help Logistics, Impact Week, Launch Labs, Angel Investment Network Indonesia, Temasek Foundation, and UPS for supporting the event. The AHAckathon engages young innovators in the ASEAN region to develop software or codes to solve real issues faced by the disaster management fraternity. And specifically for this edition, we focus on challenges faced by the ASEAN government in humanitarian logistics. While the event was initially planned to be part of the Humanitarian and Emergency Logistics Innovation Expo, or HELIX, in May this year, it was postponed to October due to the pandemic. Nevertheless, I hope this event will bring about new possibilities by leveraging technology and innovation in disaster management. Now, ASEAN is a fast-growing region with an edge in the digital future. We have youthful, digitally savvy, and upward mobile populations. And we should tap on the energy of our youth and their familiarity with new technologies. In turn, these young minds will be empowered and be inspired to be the change they want to see. Given the opportunities, our youth can play a vital role in developing innovative technology customized for ASEAN. Events such as the AHAckathon provides a purposeful platform for youth to seed ideas that has a direct impact on society. And to the teams participating in AHAckathon over the next 3 days, I hope you can see the event more than just a competition. I hope to ignite an unstoppable force of life-saving innovation in you, and this force for good, and for you to work with us in the disaster management in the future. Thank you.
You're online.
Thank you so much, Deputy Commissioner Chong Hoa, for your encouraging message. Now, dear AHAckathon participants and guests, I would like to introduce to you a few more people who will be guiding you in your challenge. Yes, you're not alone in this. But I don't want to bore you in the next 5 minutes, but someone's got to do the job. And that is to explain to you some more important reminders. First, the rules. We've made accommodations to the number and composition of the teams. The teams you have been assigned is the team you will be working with for the next 48 hours. At the end of the 48 hours, you will need to submit a 7-minute video that will consist of your pitch and a demo of your app or its wireframe. You can use any language or system in developing your app. If you want to clarify further, you may get in touch with our senior IT officer, Rizdianto Irawan, but you can just call him Rizdi. So he'll be around Discord the whole time. Second, the criteria. There are 4 prize ranks at stake, including the Community's Choice Award. The jury criteria are fit for purpose, meaning does your solution offer a suitable solution for ASEAN? Innovativeness, potential to scale up, and social pitch, how you explain and convince your target users that your solution answers the challenge that was given to you. Third, I want to explain about the prize. What's at stake here? Winning teams will receive a series of mentoring sessions from Angel Investments Network Indonesia, or ANGIN. They have presence in several countries in ASEAN, and their mission is to help startups raise their financial profile. You will be given the appropriate investment advice depending on how you want to take your app forward. We have earlier announced that one of the prizes is an exciting learning event in Singapore when travel permits. Because of the very uncertain conditions we are in with COVID pandemic, the AHA Center regretfully announces that this prize is no longer on the table. However, we still have our final prize. Each winning team will also receive a cash prize from UPS up to $2,000 US. And fourth, as I have mentioned, the fourth prize is the Community's Choice Award, or the Diamond Award. The winner of this prize will be those who get the most likes on their pitch. We will post your pitches at the AHA Center YouTube channel and through the AHA Center social media in Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So, I am so excited now, and my heart is pumping with suspense as we start. As we conclude the formal ceremony, my time too has ended. But one last thing, where we want you to also save the memory of this event. For AHAckathon participants, coaches, and mentors, send us a photo or a video of you at work throughout the competition. The best photo wins. I will be joining all of you teams as a mentor, but for now, I will hand you over to one of the most important people next to all of you hackers. But before that, I will hand you over back to Toby. So it begins. My final task for this afternoon is to introduce to you one more very important person who has helped us design this event over a stretch of a few months. So together with Toby, I would like to now hand over the stage to Michael Kogel from Impact Week.
Can we give Michael and Toby a big round of applause? And that will be over to you, Michael.
Thanks a lot, Gaynor. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be with you and to run this hackathon with the help of Launch Labs, Impact Week, and Help Logistics. I'm Michael Kögel. I'm kind of a transformation coach and design thinking coach, and I've been working with the Impact Week since 2016, where we bring design thinking and entrepreneurship to a lot of different countries around the world. And we're very happy also with our partner Help Logistics, who also supported other Impact Weeks like in Jordan, to be able to work with you now on the AHAckathon. So this is, and together with me I have my colleague Toby, who is also running all the technology, and we are very happy that we can use this awesome virtual studio from the Launch Labs here in Berlin. And I also want Toby to introduce himself.
Thank you so much, and also a very welcome from my side. And also to the warm words of Gaynor, like she said, I also feel like I'm half Indonesian because I just married my wife this year, and she's basically from Jakarta. And yeah, so from my end, I'm an innovation consultant and also a facilitator and agile coach based here in Berlin with the Launch Labs. And we, as the Launch Labs, we are helping companies, organizations, but also governments to become more agile and flexible like successful startups. And together with Michael, I had the great choice after you asked me to help you with this wonderful impact and this great opportunity to guide you through the next 3 days. And I think it is a really important and impactful work that you will do, and also the solutions you will find out. And for that, we want now to give you a little introduction about what will come for you, especially today. And for that, Michael,
yes.
How would it look like?
Yes, what you see behind me now is one of the mural boards that you've probably already seen. It's the challenge boards that is the central entry point for you, where you kind of have iteration of all your challenges. You have the overall summary, and for each of you, for your teams, you have your stars here that you can use to jump to your team rooms. And maybe Toby can go a little bit on the overview on the hackathon and the process, so we can talk a little bit about how this will run. So as mentioned, we are focused on design thinking. So we have a couple of we have a couple of phases that we go through. So design thinking is an innovation process that has been around for a long time, and we will use that together with the AHAckathon. So if you have attended hackathons, and a lot of you have not done that, so this is the first one from you, so you will not notice the difference. But for the ones who already have been in hackathons, this will be a little bit different. Our aim is to give you the tools to find solutions that are really fitting the needs of your users and are right on target, so that they create more value. And that's why we start with an understand phase that you run through today, where you have a chance to, first of all, build a team, because some of you have new members in the team or are completely new teams, but also get to know what you already know in the team on your challenge, and also capture what you don't know yet and ask that to mentors that are available to you. And then in the next phase that starts, so we will prepare that today, and you will also execute that tomorrow morning. You will talk to more users. So with the understanding today and your gaps, you will try to find people that are really working in this field or affected by the field, like donors or logistics experts, or even refugees or people that received donations or received the humanitarian aid, so that you can really step into their shoes basically and understand what they really need, so your solution will be perfect for them. And once you've done that, and that's also going to happen tomorrow, you will kind of summarize your understanding of the solution, and then in day 3 tomorrow you already start also ideating, so you find ideas on how to solve that problem. So in the first 3 phases we try to really understand the problem very deep and also find our own focus, because some of those challenges are so broad that you can't solve them in 2 days. So you will find your focus. And then with that, you start prototyping. And if we talk about prototyping in this sense, as a coder, you might think about software, right? But for us, it's all, a prototype is everything that you can take to a prospect user to see the reactions and to understand if your idea is valuable. So we start very early with prototyping to be able to validate and then also iterate, and lastly also test. So in the end you will go out to your users to again and see if what you developed works for them. And then of course you also have to present it, as Gaynor mentioned, to the jury, and they will judge you on the criteria as mentioned. So maybe let's take a quick look at the agenda for today. So right now we are kind of giving you an overview on what's happening, and right after this, which will take maybe 20 minutes or so, you will go into your teams and start your work with your coach. So each of the challenges has one coach, and we might also have to adjust some of the teams based on the attendance. So your coach will tell you if you have to kind of move because some teams are too small. And then you really will start using an exercise to understand, and maybe we can switch to the other board. So this is the team board that you will use, and this kind of flower structure, we call that kind of a context map. So you have your challenge that's already known, and then you start creating different you start just downloading everything that you know. So for each nugget or each questions that you have in your mind that is related to this challenge, just bring it to the board. Use a lot of the sticky notes here, and just put them text in and put them down here, and you can first collect everybody on his own. Maybe you also use different colors so that you can differentiate later on whose idea or whose point that was. And with all that, once you have filled that, you will see patterns emerging. So you can push related post-its from one petal of the flower to the other, so that they kind of together make sense. And then you can also give that a name. And once you've done that, as a team, you need to decide if there are kind of things emerging where they, well, this petal here is very important, so that is where we want to focus our work on for the next 3 days. Sometimes it's also maybe two different topics, but don't make it too broad, make it specific, because that will allow you to get a better solution. So if you think about lean startup, they talk about minimal viable product, so think about that. So what is the smallest thing that you can solve that still creates value for the users, because that guarantees that you can finish in the 3 days by Sunday night and have a good solution, rather than trying to do everything at once and then just kind of scratching the surface. So after you've done that, we go to the next part. So you start with on the basis of what you did in this flower, you formulate your challenge, and here basically everybody in the team can just take a go and say, well, that is how I understood what I think we should be working on. And then you see kind of if there is a different understanding between the different people in the team, and then you can kind of decide and maybe also wordsmith so that you have a common understanding. And in the third phase, and that might also be informed from stuff that you did in the first phase, because you might also have just open questions, then you can put them down here again, and also you have stuff that you already know about the challenge, kind of some facts that you need. And especially with this information of the stuff that you don't need, you go into the interviews with the experts. So you will have some time in the morning to work with the experts and get your questions answered so that you kind of learn more and complement your picture, especially on the stuff that you don't know yet. And Toby will tell you what is going to happen in the afternoon.
In the afternoon, exactly. So after Michael already introduced you to the design thinking approach, you also heard that design thinking is a human-centered approach. So, and it will be not just about to get in contact with the experts. So it will be also really interesting for you to make some interviews with possible users at the end who will use your solution. And for that, we also want to give you a little bit of help and an instruction with our boards. And here what you see right after behind me is a tool that is helping us to understand what kind of users we have and with which kind of people we should talk about. So first of all, here in the middle column, these are the users who will be like the average users of your solution, of your tool, who will be also like related to your challenge, of course, because you're coming from your challenge. Then on the very left-hand side, what you see here on the board is the following. These are users you maybe think about is, okay, these users will be maybe not really using our tool, but it can be also really interesting to talk with them to find out why they would not use it. And maybe they will give you some hints what you can also improve to make your idea even more innovative. And on the very end of the column, on this side, these are really like the extreme users, the positive users. You know, these are like the users who will like every day using your solution, using your app. And when you fill out these different columns with the different users, you can get a picture of with which kind of people you should talk and who you want to contact with, because this will be also the next step on the second day. But before you come to that, it would be also interesting to think about what kind of questions you want to ask them. And of course, for that, we also have a tool and a template for you, which you will find out underneath of the extreme user template. So this template will help you to guide you through your questions so you can prepare your questions. We have here like a field for general questions, which is written like, what does it mean to you, the solution, or even that kind of challenge? What do you think about it? Or we also have a little bit more specific question when you also want to dive a little bit deeper into the challenge and the problem itself the user have. And you already can think about what kind of experience they already made, and you can lead your questions into that directions with experience questions. And also we have the desired questions. That is really interesting to think about when you are thinking about your challenge and the problem. You can ask them, hey, what would you like to see in our solution? Right? So it's more like an open question for them. And what is also important when you talk with them is to think about the why level. So you can also even think about, okay, when they give you the answer, to ask them later about the whys and the whys. So you can get a little bit more deeper and you can empathize with these people. In the middle part, it is also really important and helpful. Here you can bring a little bit more a meta level to the people. So you can think about questions more around their daily life, around how they are living, how they are working. So you bring the whole conversation more into a meta level. So these informations can also help you to think a little bit more around your solution and around the problem itself. And maybe you will find something out that you didn't know before. So this is, I think, the first day. Or do we have something else?
Thanks, Toby, for the great overview of the tools. This might be a little overwhelming, so there is a lot to do today, but that's why we have your awesome coaches that will support you in your teams and help you with all the tools and guide you through the process. As we have a lot of people that joined late, maybe we can do a very quick rerun also on the tools and introduce some of the main concepts that you will be using. Maybe Toby, do you want to?
I can make, of course.
Give us a quick demo of all the main Mural functions that you want to use, and then we also look on Discord and give you some introductions on how to organize in Discord and where to ask questions and things like that.
Absolutely. So I will go again in front of the screen. So I have here the whole interface of Mural, and maybe Michael, you can do like the things on the laptop while I'm explaining. So first of all, on the left-hand side on your screen, here you find your toolbar. And this is like the most important things you need to work. So the second icon, and Michael, maybe you can click on it. From above the second icon, the sticky notes, exactly here, you can find the sticky notes. The name is already saying it. So before we come to the first three icons, let's show into the sticky notes. So what can you do when you expanded this context menu in Mural? You just can drag and drop these sticky notes to the Mural board. So this is like one way to create sticky notes. The other way is, and Michael, maybe you can zoom in a little bit closer so the participants can see it. What you also can do is you can make like copy paste, so Control C, Control V, or if you have a Mac, it's Command C and Command V. Or what you also can do is when Michael is doing now a double click near a sticky note, then this kind of format of the sticky note, even the color, will be just copied. So maybe, Michael, you can also integrate like a smaller sticky note with a different color. Exactly. When now Michael is clicking on that, then you can see this is just copied. So this is like the most easy way to create sticky notes. Just make a double tap or copy paste it. Another way, or something else that is also interesting, especially when we come to the cluster, Michael, maybe you can click on the text box. So it's like also a tool which you can use. So with that, you can create like a text box and write in your name. That can be really helpful if you have your clusters. And you can see that Michael is already doing that. So when we're coming to a next function or the next step into the toolbar, these are the connectors and all the shapes. So let's start again with the shapes. So then it's easier to describe the connectors as well. So again, you can just drag and drop these shapes onto your virtual whiteboard, and maybe we can also add a second shape. And again, you can also just directly type in words so it becomes more clear what it is about. And Michael, can you zoom in a little bit more? Then what you can do, and I go a little bit over here, is the following. You can use the connectors, and I go now a little bit in the middle, so I have to jump around between all the features of Mural. So again, you can drag and drop it. And then, and now it's maybe a little bit unclear to see, but at the edges of this connector, so you have a little blue dot, and with that you can connect it to the shapes or even to the sticky notes. And then what is happening, it is really sticked to the shape or to the sticky note, and when you drag it around, what Michael just is doing at the moment, then this connector will not lose the connection. So that means when you want to make like a structure for your app later on, and you maybe want to add a new feature inside of it, you will not lose the connection. So this is also really, really helpful. And maybe we can also give a little hint how it's even more easier to create connectors. So if you already selected one of your shapes and you press and hold the C key on your keyboard, like that, can you do it? So you have to press and hold it, and then, or maybe, yeah, then you can see, maybe it's really, really small for you, but you can see that at the corners and the edges of your shape will appearing again these blue dots, and when you click on it, then automatically the same shape will be copied with already a connector included between these two shapes. So this is also a fast way to create this. We are coming to the next features, one of my favorite ones. These are the icons. Because also in design thinking and in an agile mindset, visual thinking is really helpful to make things more clear. And for that, you can use the icons. So you find that with a star icon on your toolbar, you can just type in a keyword, then you will have a selection of different icons that's related to this keyword. Then you can just drag and drop it again to your mural board, to your virtual whiteboard, and you can also give it a different color. So Michael already get a little bit creative in here. Wonderful. So you can see we have a truck and a heart, so it now helping us to create a little bit more imagination. When we are coming to one other important feature, and this is like pictures, this can also help you. So again, it's the same functions like with the icons. You just have to type in a keyword, and then you again drag and drop one of your favorite pictures you find there to your mural board, and this will also help you to make your thoughts and ideas more understandable for your teammates, but also maybe when you want to talk to the users and the experts and you want to explain something, use pictures, use icons, things will become much more easier to understand. What else can you use? And this is like the last icon in the toolbar. This is the drawing tool. So you can also use, like you already maybe know from different tablets, you have it also integrated into Mural, the drawing function. There's also a Mural app. This is also helpful when you have a tablet. You can download the Mural app, and then using your pencil that is working with your tablet to write directly on the Mural board. You can even write directly on sticky notes with the tablet app. So it's even more like a feeling that you're working on a real whiteboard. Anything I forgot? I don't think so.
There's one more thing where you can, if you have any documents that you want to upload, then you can also do that. Because if you have some background information that you found on the web and you downloaded a PDF that is important for your challenge and your team, you can just also bring that onto the board. In addition, I think that's any other things on Mural? Okay.
No, not for
in addition, as we know that this is a lot, we actually on each exercise or on each phase, we have included videos with the explanations. So you basically, if you have questions, you can just go back and double click here, and it will automatically start a YouTube video with the face descriptions again, so that you can kind of go back, but your coaches know all the details, so they will be able to help you. I think with that, we covered pretty much everything that we need to know on Mural. Your coaches will help you, and if your coaches don't, then they can come back to us as well. So we will be online all the time to support you. And then we think we should go a quick intro to the Discord channels as well. So,
yeah, of course. I will opening up Discord. It always installing updates. This is Discord. They are so agile. They have like every 2 days updates to make the tool even better. So when Discord is opening, then you will see on the upper left corner, you see like two different icons. The first icon, this is for your private chat. The second icon, and maybe you already have more than we, you find also the server for the AHAckathon. And on here, on the left side, exactly like this, okay. You have the different channels. So first of all, we have the general channel. In here, you see this hashtag icon with the different channels we have here. For instance, the welcome and rules, where we also share them again. We have our general chat, and you can see already there's a lot of going on. And maybe Michael, you can just come over here. Okay. You will also find announcements in here, so also check even that out, that you always see what kind of announcement we are doing for you. Keep that in focus as well. We will also share some resources here, questions and off topics. Also share them with us. And when you have questions, please just write them into the chat. We always have it open, we answer that, but of course you also have your coaches. Then we have different voice channels, and you can already see that some of you are still here in the voice channels. We have the assembly, we have, for instance, the lounge, where we already met at the kickoff, and most of you are there as well. Most of you are muted. You know it, right? That the difference between the text and the audio channels is the following: that in the audio channels you can also do like a voice chat, or even when you are less than 25 people, something we also learned, then you can also use your video, so your webcam. That is especially important when you are working with your teams, and I would also recommend that when you are working in your team, use the webcam if your internet connection's allowing it. So it creates a better bonding inside of your team when you can see each other in your face. And that brings me also to your team channels. So each of you are related to a challenge, and we have for each challenge a different group of text chats and voice chats. So you see for each challenge we have the general challenge text channel. And for each team, we also have an own text channel, so you can, when you are not in a voice channel, you can still get in contact. But we also have the voice channels for each team and the experts. So when you have the calls with the experts, you just go to this channel. You also can go to the coaches. When the coaches are not with you, they will be there in the coaches channel. And of course, you have your team channels for voice and video. What you can do inside of your text channels, of course, you can type in your text as you all know it. I think you are all familiar with all these functions. You can also, of course, add some GIFs. Again, we like it more visually, so feel free to post your GIFs. That makes it even more fun for the next 3 days. And on the bottom left corner, you always have the function to mute yourself. Also be aware of that. When you are in a voice channel and you are closing, or it seems to that you are closing Discord, sometimes you are still connected into your voice channel, because Discord don't need always the window open. So be aware of that, that you are, when you don't want that someone is hearing you, mute yourself in the bottom left corner. And if you want to go into a focus work and you don't want to get disturbed by Discord itself, you have the defend button that is at the second button down left next to your own picture. With that, you can just completely mute Discord, so you will not be heard, and you can also not hear anything, so you can really be focused with your work. And I think these are the main functions.
Yes, as this is a topic that Johannes tries to get over a lot of times, is you need to change your screen name to your real name. I think most of you already did that, but maybe Toby, you can quickly show how this is done for the people who have not done it and joined late.
What exactly?
How do you change the screen name?
The screen name, that is a wonderful question. I even don't know it by myself.
Okay.
So maybe you do.
I think it's here in your user settings.
And the username, yeah, exactly. So you have to go to the user settings, and then you have to click on edit username, and here you can change your username. So this is how you can change your name. So that it is important for us so you can understand it, because we have the participants list, and when you don't have your the same name with which you are applied to the hackathon, it is for us a little bit difficult to understand who has to be in which team.
And I think we can pause here for a second, and if there are any important questions right now, then you can quickly write them in the questions chat, and we can answer them. So let's maybe take 2 or 3 minutes for that. That also gives you a chance to exercise a little, and then after that we will go into your teams.
And we're seeing already here coming some
thank you.
High five to you, a virtual high five. So that means we are going now into the work, into the Discord channels also for us, because now we have to run to our laptops. We're here at the moment in front of our green screen, as you can see, so we also have to prepare a little bit, and then we can start, right?
Yes, right. So if there are questions, post them in the questions channel. We will try to answer them. But now it's time to meet your coach, and the rest of the day you will work with your coach, and at 6 p.m. we will probably have a very short closing and introduce you to, and we will also post that to another tool for that you can post your questions for the Q&A tomorrow, and tomorrow morning we will start with a Q&A and then also introduction to the day before you go back into your teams for the working. Thank you everybody, and
have a lot of fun.
Have a lot of fun. Switch to your teams, and you still can keep the stream open, but that will kind of just have a placeholder for the rest of the day until we come back for the opening.
Great.
Thank you, and
see you later.
All the best for the hackathon.
Ich stoppe den Stream jetzt.
Also, okay.
Oder soll ich stoppen? Macht das Sinn?
Dann brauchen wir heute, kann man